Okay, so basically, I would like to think that I do a lot of the the suggestions and recommendations as natural as they come to me. And this is a bit of an up in the air speculation, but I would like to think that I do that as it's like a knee-jerk reaction of maybe now I won't have to see so many new podcasters, beginner podcasters, and new musicians as quite possibly it must frustrate me in some way to have to do that, where I'm trying to connect with people and then I rarely come across experience level. So I'm doing a lot of suggestions, recommendations, things that can help. A lot of my content is things that can help people just starting out. Just as a speculation. Just saying that as a speculation. I'm Mickeygemineye, this is Vault of Doom Podcast, episode 93, patching up season 7 so that I can hurry up already and get in, so I can hurry up and wait already and get into season 8. Hurry up and wait, let's get into season 8. I'm tired of season 7. It's freaking getting on my nerves. Let me tell you real quick what you can look forward to in that season, though. Some stuff that I'm like allowing myself to breathe. This is so weird and strange. Normally attacking this thing like a freaking animal, but here I am allowing myself to breathe, and I can tell you what to expect. And so in season 8, okay, there's a couple important things that I want you to know before we get in there, and that is, first of all, there's going to be sound effects. I've decided to try it. Everything for me is always like it's experimental. Everything for me is usually experimental. So I'm not going to say, let's do sound effects and keep them here to stay instantly before I even got the chance to do it very long. Let's just make everything here to stay. But just, in fact, even I'm always early with everything too. So let's do a freaking cheers ahead of time. Hey, cheers for season 8, guys. This is a real sound effect, though. I mean, the sound effects I'm referring, before we do though, the sound effects I'm referring to are going to be synthesized. I'm going to start doing synthesized sound effects like a old-timey radio show style thing, where how in the radio you used to have sound effects like a kazoo or a clown nose honking, just stuff like that for like comedy shows. And I'd love to do the research first and like kind of spend some more extra time on that, but I'm pretty fortunate to be at the age that I am, and I won't say too much on this. All I'm gonna say is no. Synthesized sound effects. Not gonna do real life sound effects all the time. That sound effect you just heard, that was a real sound effect. That was from my Bluetooth speaker. The sound effect you're about to hear as we cheers and officially do it's a baby shower. You are witnessing the baby shower of the christening of season 8 of my show. So cheers, and may it be filled with plenty of fucking crazy ass shit. And let me one more pause real quick. Let me tell you what else to expect for season 8. We're gonna surpass episode 100. That's big. That's huge. That's worth celebrating. So, cheers. Oh, that was lame. It wasn't even loud. I thought it was gonna be really loud, but it wasn't. It was not very loud. It should be louder. Quick side banter. Some of the stuff that I would like to do is coverage of the festivals, but it's just the only problem with that is it's really having not being there and speculating from a distance, not satisfying. Being there from here, where I'm at right now, that's a lot of work, you know. It's like it's too much feeling like it's not natural sort of thing. If you catch my drift, if you're picking up what I'm laying down, if you understand what I mean. Not, also not enjoyable. You know, waiting forever and then waiting until everything that ever happens ever and everything in my entire life, also not natural, also not enjoyable. Doing the coverage and maybe earning some cash from doing the coverage from where I am to get there and then do the coverage while I'm there, very fucking enjoyable. Very fucking enjoyable indeed. That's another sound effect you're hearing as we just cheers for season 8 approaching. Season 8 approaches. Anyway, let's talk back down to earth here. Let's talk way down to earth over here. I hope you guys have enjoyed season 7 so far. And there's been a mixture. It's a hodgepodge. There's been a big mixture, a combination of a few different topics, a few different categories of topics. This was the season where, you know, actually I can't, let me save that for the finale. The season finale is another thing to broach on. And the topic for the season finale, other than the season finale, is labels. Now I'll begin with, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning and also while utilizing what's current right now, what I'm currently seeing on my phone. So these streaming platforms and the musicians featured on them has become, wow, let me think of how I would describe it. A canker sore. Just an absolute fucking canker sore. And this is coming from someone who's, I always wish, people say this all the time, but I always wish that they would have added this in and said this along with it, that these streaming platforms and the musicians and artists that I find on there are a canker sore, and this is coming from someone who's been using these streaming platforms and listening to the same artists for since its inception, since the very beginning. And other than being that old man who's just sitting there complaining about everything all the time, or being all angry and aggressive about everything all the time, that's not my aim. My aim is to, put out there what I can provide and, add a little extra on as specifically as context. so that whenever you revert back to any of the stuff you hear on the show, or any of the reasons that you would find my content of use, you have something to refer it to, and that would be referring it to something, personally yourself. That would be what my aim is to hear what the audience has to say about the stuff. I'm a consumer of a few different things, and the things that I am a consumer of, I provide the feedback to the merchant. That's one of the things that I would consider proceed with caution territory, and then just basically ultimately just be like, that's where my signature style comes in. Then it's my signature style. It's like, I'm a specific person. This is the kind of person that I am. This is who I am. That's not an aim, though. For me to say that I want my audience to fucking say what all this stuff, that's not an aim. My aim, or whatever, and stuff, is like, do these things, and then let me know in the metaphorical merchant-consumer relationship. It's basically what it is. I'm providing this content. You're consuming this content. Let me know. And then, it's whatever. Then, hands off. I'm bailing on that shit. I'm out. And, in the follow-up, let's do the follow-up here. So, starting from the beginning, where I am with things on, basically a helper, or it's like who's providing suggestions, recommendations, and all that stuff. I'm doing this, but then I'm also at the same time wondering why, or asking myself why, or questioning. So what it's for ultimately is the speculation that I provided is it is separated from what other speculation. It's basically just two speculations. It's like fighting against each other for what, and for this thing, and for that thing, for the ultimate truth or something like that. I don't know, but the follow-up episode to this one here, the one right after, is basically about conspiracy. Is conspiratorial, or it's a psychological phenomena, detrimental psychological phenomena, and then let's go ahead and just say, what's most important here to be aware of, and all the other stuff here. The most important thing to specify that is the most important thing to specify. Specification. Specifications are found on a product like an amplifier by fucking whatever brand, made in wherever the fuck, and X amount of wattage, and then here's your specs, here's your specifications. Nerds love that shit. You don't even have to be a fucking nerd, and you're still a nerd. Like, you don't have to be a nerd, but you love this shit because you're a nerd. You like specifications, you like analytics, you like the way that the product is described, because it's whatever fucking it is. That's philosophy can serve no purpose, is of no use here. I think I'm starting to draw. I think I'm starting to draw some imagery here. I think I'm starting to paint a picture. Anyhow, at any rate, the thing is, what kind of sustenance that what I'm questioning and asking about is what kind of sustenance is it that I'm getting from doing all this stuff. And ultimately what I think that it is in comparison and in contrast to specifying, right? So that's easily understandable. On each and every single bit of content that's out there, unless of course you're into that kind of thing where you have really wacky, really fucking far out there, fucking trippy, psychedelic. It could be, but it still has the specification of psychedelic until only after it did, sort of thing. And I'm here talking about this right now. That's just my thing. That's my thing. That's what I do. That's my thing, or whatever, and stuff. Aside from all that, aside from whatever the actual content constitutes, there's always the enjoying hearing the sweet lull of my voice. There's the background music that I'll play later, as I often put some of my original tracks into the episode. There's all the bells and whistles and frills that come with making a podcast. Quick self-promotion. Go check out the episode Making a Podcast, or the episode What is a Podcast? Aside from quick self-promotion, and in contrast to self-promotion, self-reflection. I guess I had to pause for a moment for that one, but it wasn't to add effect. It was probably for some other really complex rocket scientist kind of reason. And my point that I was trying to make there. Let's go down that avenue. Let's head down. Let's traverse down there and check it out. My catalog of podcasts and my catalog of music that I have made is sort of a standard. It's sort of like a standard of mine. It's a standard that I'd like to be. I wouldn't say too much without saying too much, but it's a standard that I would like to say I'm satisfied with, or where I do something, or I set out to do something, and then I set forth to do something, and then I say, I'm satisfied. You could put my name on that. You can say that I did that, or something like that. Or specifically what I'm referring to is what is a podcast episode? Where I'm asking, what is a podcast? Or, if you're wanting to learn how to make a podcast, you can listen to the show on YouTube. You can listen to the show on Spotify, all that other stuff. And referring to the streaming sites as having become a canker sore, and then also providing the context of what is providing a context. It's like, hey, I'm still just the same guy. It's like I'm still just the same kind of guy. And then, people like drunk people or high people smoking a lot of weed and pot and whatever, and like other people making their own content and stuff like that. Lest we forget that there's thousands of other podcasters and musicians within a 100-mile radius. And especially at this point, I mean, this is the most dangerous place. This is the most dangerous place of them all, where, you know, we're a few years into a global pandemic where a lot of shit's been shut down. I just learned yesterday Discord's banned in Russia. TikTok's banned in Korea. I didn't learn that yesterday. I learned that before that. But the ways that these platforms are being chastised and ostracized is like really fucked up. And I don't really have much else that could really even ever be provided ultimately, considering you know, not needing to be a nerd looking into specs and looking into specifications, but the total and complete lack of common sense that people have when they're not busy doing this, or when they're not busy doing the things that facilitate doing this, is outside of me. It's just totally beyond me. Way over my head. I don't know. And hey, why not take a music break, yeah? No, actually, I can't leave you there. I gotta keep going. Hang on a sec. I just realized, not only whatever I just realized, but that I don't fucking have my music ready. I don't know what music I would actually be featuring. You know, a lot of times when I have provided contrast into these episodes of my show before it actually was established here, and adding that in, you know, it's established a certain year prior to this incarnation of this avatar. I'm not getting any acknowledgments or recognition, let alone accolades for that contrast. Of the music that I make right now, I don't have anything ready. I don't have anything actually queued up and ready to go. Well, I certainly will find a way around that, as I oft do, and as is my want. But let's just use what we have provided here so far, and that's, hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. There you go. There's a whole fucking song right there. It's like, whoa, holy shit. Kind of true. That's actually kind of correct. Luckily, on the next episode, I'm providing some more information on that, so you shall be well equipped and prepared, ready for battle. I think that where I'm drawing sustenance from here on doing a lot of the recommendations and stuff like that is exactly that, the battle. And what that means is, you know, you don't have to be afraid to say what that is. You don't have to be afraid at all of what that. You don't have to be just regular. Don't have to be afraid. If you listen to my show often, you know what I mean, and it's kind of an inside joke, okay? No, actually, I fucked up on this episode because this is fucking all auditory and not fucking video. So, fuck. Fucking damn it all. Excuse me. Anyway. It just seems that way. It just seems kind of like that. It just kind of seems like that to me. And, you know, maybe that's... Hey, maybe that's the fucking tragedy, you know, right? Maybe that's the tragedy of man. Of the tragedy of mankind. You know, what would a real philosophy podcast sound like? It would probably have something like, let's discuss the implications of each and every it would create that ambiance. It would create that atmosphere of that we're gonna explore each and every avenue of etymology and such and so on and so forth. I rest my case. I guess that's simply well, it's not only the result of whatever it is that I'm going to try to say about that, but it's also important that when I'm putting these episodes together myself while doing a solo project of music, that I'm not going to fucking worry about the volume levels halfway through, even if it's fucking perfectly halfway through, that I'm not going to worry about the volume levels, but the volume levels are louder now than they were at the beginning. And hey, plenty of people are fucking into this and into that, and then let's get back to one more thing before we go to a music break. That the specifications of the fucking the specs that are asked. You'll have to excuse me. I've already provided the specifications. The specifications that are asked are providing a whole lot of information. So when you have the old school style of stuff, that's a specification. When you're ready, you've reached season 7, and then when you're gonna go on to being really ready, you're past season 7. But probably everything after that is quite likely to be having me where I would much rather just make a fucking podcast and music about all interplanetary and all fucking heavenly body fuzz, fucking bod fucking ease. Anyway, people should totally be fucking just like me, but probably not gonna fucking happen. So I'm just like, so anyway, so like I was saying, the specifications combined to like what specifications? Okay, we're getting ready for a music break. We're almost ready for that music break. Hang on. So defining the genre, or defining the genre of music, or defining the genre of podcasts, I personally, and as the host who puts these fucking together all himself and shit, I find this extremely difficult. Not because the task itself is difficult, but because the accuracy of it afterwards seems to be a bit fuzzy. And you know what? Honestly, even that's not a problem. But there's not much that can be done other than thus I have a podcast and I make podcasts and I fucking hear it talking about it and all that stuff. But you know what I don't do is talk about my podcasts because I know better. And dudes and chicks, I want you to listen. I want y'all to listen here to this tasty track that I have prepared for you, because I'll bet you dimes to dollars that there's, as a result of it, gonna be an orgasm somewhere. Nearby really soon because of it. And if there's not, hey, there's a couple extra fucking minutes that I have to fucking tell you about what I'm really trying to say in this episode here, and that's there's not much that can be implied nowadays, because nobody fucking believes a single goddamn word that anybody is saying. So if you are a warrior and you like challenges and you like challenging, well, hey, I'm gonna have to back out of that. I'm gonna have to back out of that arena. The whole arena is like the only place that I want to be. Especially considering that the arena is where the warriors are. Music break.